Hi and welcome to the We Need Roads podcast, and as we'll be talking the Marvels today, I'm not joined by Ben Lord, but Kree's Supreme Leader, Dar-Ben. Hey Dar-Ben, how's it going?
It was great until I heard that nickname, thanks dude.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a super packed episode today, which we're going to kind of split into two parts. The first part will be some non-spoiler reviews, where I'm going to be reviewing Justine Triets' Oscar-tipped courtroom drama, Anatomy of a Fall. Then Nicolas Cage stars in an A24 film called Dream Scenario. Then we have Barry Keoghan in Emerald Fennels' sophomore effort, Saltburn. Then in the second part, we're going to dive into spoilers as we talk Gareth Edwards The Creator, and then we're going to jump into the MCU, talking the Marvels and Loki Season 2. So, first up is Anatomy of a Fall, which is a French courtroom drama by director Juliette Triets. It says Triet, but I'm going to say Triet because she's French. And that just sounds like it should be pronounced that way. Starring an Austrian-German actress called Sandra Hüller, who, handily, her character is also called Sandra in the film. Her husband falls out of their chalet window to his death, and she is accused of his murder. The film then develops into a gripping courtroom drama, as we, the audience, also have to decide, did he jump or was he pushed? And central to the story of this is her son, Daniel, played superbly by young actor Milo Machado Grainer, who is partially blind, the character, not the actor, sorry, just to clear that up. And key points of the story turn on what he remembers based upon sound and smell. And it's a phenomenal performance by the young boy. He was only 12 at the time of filming. And Sandra Hüller, the actress, again, I hadn't seen her in anything before this. And apparently she's on course for 2 Best Actress nominations this year because she's amazing in this and she'd definitely get a nomination. And she's also starring in and getting rave reviews for a film that's due out, I think, next year in the UK called, it's a World War II drama called The Zone of Interest. And it's about the guy who runs Auschwitz and how he sets up his house next door to the camp with his wife and his family. And she plays his wife in that film.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's going to be dark. It's going to be a dark film.
Oh, no.
It's already the poster is amazing because you see this garden party and then just like black behind it.
Oh,
where
that's horrible.
It should be. Yeah. I think it's a German production again, but with an English director. Oh. So it's kind of similar into what they did with All Quiet on the Western Front a few years back. So, but back to the film. Also of note is the seeing eye dog in the film, Snoop, whose real name is Messi. And yes, he's quite the famous pup. This is the best dog performance I've seen since Boy in Love and Monsters. Also, I'm ashamed to admit, there's an earworm near the start of the film that I've not been able to shake all week. Because there's a bit right at the very start when this couple are having an argument and the husband starts blaring music to drown everything else out. And it's a steel drum instrumental version of 50 Cent's Pimp. And I just this is a really good steel drum song when I was listening. So I just put I searched for the soundtrack on Spotify. Thought, this is a really good song. And I went, it's a fucking 50 Cent song. To be fair though, I don't know whether it was created first and then this band did it, or I don't want to know. But yeah, I might like a 50 Cent song, sadly.
Nothing sad about that. What's wrong here? Well, I mean, I'm going to be generally quiet during these things because I haven't seen these movies that you're going to do your reviews on, but I will jump in and call bullshit on some stuff just to give you a warning.
Fair enough. Well, and also, as you'll probably notice, we're not giving away spoilers. We're just doing basic reviews of these ones because a lot of these films have only just come out, when I record this at least, and some of them actually haven't even come out yet on general release. It's one of the best courtroom dramas you'll ever see. And courtroom drama is not really exactly a popular genre at the moment, but the effortless execution of the well-written script makes this a can't miss. This is going to be one of those films that wins loads of awards at the Oscars, and everyone in the general sort of outside the film Twitter bubble goes, "What's that? I've never heard of it." And it's a shame because it's a really superb film. So if you see it, yes, it's French. Don't worry about the Frenchness. It's brilliant. It's called Anatomy of a Fall.
It is. Yeah, but just to touch on the Frenchness of it all, there are some amazing French movies out there,
Amélie.
I was about to say Amélie, and then there's some more French themed movies like Leon, which are which you kind of forget because it's just good cinema. I'm not saying that would put me off necessarily, but there is a lot of xenophobia in there when it comes to the viewing public.
This was a secret screening when I saw it, so people didn't know what film they were seeing.
Why are you telling everybody? You're shit at keeping secrets.
I'm terrible at keeping secrets. Yeah, so the idea being you don't know what film you're seeing when you go in. And the second it said, Canal Plus, a film de France, and like that, it's about 20, 25 people got up and left.
That's amazing, isn't it? I mean...
And you're like, wait a minute, you've got your Cineworld Unlimited card. You call yourself a cinephile, I think people should be forced to they should lock the doors when it's a secret screening. You should just have to watch it, man. The only way out of it should be if it's a horror film and you really, there's like lots of traumatic triggers and all that kind of stuff.
That would be would be my out. I mean, like, I think that I don't know about locking people in the cinema. I think that's
do it.
I definitely I admire your
zeal,
ambition there, and your dedication to the cause. I think to keep your unlimited card, because they change colour, don't they? Once you've had it a year, you get a black one, not a red
black
one.
Card. So I'm wondering what I get next year when it's been a decade.
Oh man, you get. I don't know. You should get something,
a new black one, because it's just fallen the fucking
like a platinum one, like a metal one, like a metal Amex card. But I think you should be, if you get a ticket to one of these secret preview screenings, because everybody wants it to be the new Marvel movie or the whatever like the blockbuster is out. I think you should have to watch the whole thing, or you get your card bumped back down to red.
Nice, like it.
Subtle ways of punishing people.
I like it, man. Yeah, I'll mention that. We'll mention that next time I'm on ranting about something on the internet. And next up is Nicolas Cage's 456th film of the year, and that is Dream Scenario, directed by Christopher Borgli, which, if you've seen the trailer, it looks like a comedy, right? It looks like a bit of a weird comedy. Mm. It even has the Cranberries song Dream in it. However...
What's that got to do with comedy? Is it because the Cranberries have got a silly name?
Yeah, exactly. Fucking fruits, man. Pick a better sounding fruit. No, I'm joking to any Cranberries fans out there. No, you watch the trailer and it feels like an early 2000s comedy drama, like the life of Walter Mitty, like a Ben Stiller thing, or Jim Carrey thing, like when it's a drama with a bit of comedy in it. That's what it looked like. It's not that at all, man. This is more like a flat-out horror film with a few tense laughs in places, and it's more aligned with something like Being John Malkovich. That's what I thought when I was watching it. I was like, this is like Being John Malkovich. And I guarantee you the studio saw the film and went, okay, it's good. It's really good. Cage is fucking brilliant as normal. How the fuck do we sell this? It was funny that bit. Yeah, we'll mark it as a comedy. Fuck it. And that's what they've done.
Wow.
The plot is that Cage plays a schlubby middle-aged college professor, Paul Matthews, who is the definition of average and uncool, until all over the world people start having dreams about him. And this is fine at the start, as Paul loves his newfound celebrity, and he might even write that book he's always wanted to, which leads to a great scene with him pitching a book to Michael Cera's influencer company, quite badly. They counter by offering him, well, can we do Instagram posts with you and Sprite? Because then people might start dreaming of you with Sprite, which would increase their sales. So they're trying to turn it into a marketing way to monetize it. What if people dream of you with Sprite? However, fame is not all it's cracked up to be, and the dreams people are having of Paul become increasingly weird and violent, which leads to just scores of people being really afraid of him or not even being able to be in the same room as him. But as he says in the trailer, but I'm not actually doing any of these things. But it doesn't matter, as Paul's life takes a bit of a downward spiral. Cage, as expected by now, is just superb in this. And I think it's definitely a recent career best performance. Having said that, he was brilliant in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent just last year. So, he pulls out Pig. He was brilliant in Pig. So I think if you make that many films now, people just know, right, we're casting Nick Cage. Fucking Willy's Wonderland. I'm sorry, Five Nights at Freddy's. Willy's Wonderland did it better a couple of years ago. And they didn't even have Nick Cage say a single line of dialogue in a film. And it was better. Yes.
I haven't heard good things about Five Guys.
No, it's one of the few films I cancelled because I was very tired. That would have been my third film that week in a row. And I was like, no, it's got really bad reviews. I'll catch it later. I'll just catch it later. The film's main theme really is about cancel culture and how your whole life can be flushed down the pan without you actually doing anything wrong. It's all about perception. And as I say, Cage plays a role excellently as a geeky professor who's really unable to deal with the fame that comes with this weird phenomenon. He does start to act out slightly a little bit and kind of believe his own hype before the dreams turn nasty. His character starts to kind of lose everything. And despite him, like he says, he's not actually doing these things. It's people's own interpretations in his dreams of them. It's not his fault, but I mean, I just think this is a really top Cage performance, but don't go in expecting an out-and-out comedy. Expect something a little bit more darker and twisted, but definitely check it out.
Interesting. That sounds like a really good film, except I think there's a Friends episode that's basically the same thing, where Phoebe has a dream about Ross, and he pisses her off, and she's mad at him all day, and then she realizes at the end of the episode, oh, it was a dream. and he has that whole same "but I didn't do anything wrong, why are you mad at me" thing. So like there's a crossover there,
Wow.
or at least
Nice, man. Nice tie-in. Now, the last film I'm going to talk about in our pre-spoiler section is Saltburn. And this is, for me, this is another potential Oscar contender. And that is Emerald Fennels, who made the searing Promising Young Woman in 2020, which was one of our films of the year that year. Now, Saltburn is her sophomore effort as she writes, directs, and produces this blackly comic drama about class warfare, starring the Banshees of Inisherin's Barry Keoghan. The basic plot involves young Oliver Quick, played by Keoghan, who is a scholarship student at Oxford in the late 90s, early 2000s, and he kind of has trouble fitting in with the rich elite who he's constantly rubbing shoulders with. That is, until he befriends Jacob Elordi's rich boy, Felix Catton. And as they break for the summer holidays, Felix invites Oliver to spend the summer living with him and his family at their palatial countryside manor, Saltburn. Oliver accepts, and he really begins to enjoy the upper-class lifestyle. And that's really about as much as I want to say about this plot as it goes on, because as the film develops, it goes to some fucking dark places, man, and some truly shocking scenes where you literally can hear the gasps in the cinema where people are like, they're not going to, oh, they did, shit. And like nervous laughter like you've never heard for ages, man, because you're like, oh, they're not going to do that. That's too fucked up. Oh, they've not only done it, they've done it and like waved at it from across the fucking road. That's like how disturbing some of it is, man. Keoghan is amazing in this again, and I think where he got an Oscar nomination for Banshees for Best Supporting Actor, he should be up for Best Actor for this because he's that good in it. He is the lead. It's his Oliver story, and Keoghan's performance just pulls us in and absolutely shocks us. And because of the time period in the late 90s, early 2000s, you get some amazing needle drops in the songs. And honestly, once you've seen this film, you'll never be able to listen to Sophie Ellis-Bextor's "Murder on a Dance Floor" ever the same way again. It's just a fucking unbelievable scene cut to that song, man. I again, from an editing point of view, it's fucking immense. I sat there stunned after that scene in the film. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe not how they did it, but how they had the balls to do it, I think is the way to say it. Fennel actually, she said about writing the film, the sorts of people that we can't stand. It's about the sorts of people who are abhorrent. If we can love them, if we can fall in love with these people, if we can understand why this is so alluring, in spite of its palpable cruelty and unfairness and sort of strangers, if we all want to be there too, I just think that's such an interesting dynamic. And that's really what the film is. Everyone's an asshole in it. And you're like, why do you want to be like one of these people? To like the main character, but it just develops so well as it goes on, man. The film is also weirdly shot in a 1:3:3 aspect ratio. So basically, when you're looking at the screen, I was like, oh, why is it not full widescreen? Because you're basically looking at a square box. And that was a choice she wanted to make. So she said to give the viewer the experience that they are kind of peeking in into like that family's horror, basically. Ooh. And although this is Keoghan's show, he's ably supported by Jacob Elordi as Felix, who's kind of the object of his sessions. Is it the guy, Felix, he craves, or is it the lifestyle he craves? So you're kind of always not sure when that kicks off. Rosamund Pike's in it, and Richard E. Grant playing Felix's parents. She's like the ice-cold Lady Elspeth, and he plays Sir James Catton. Pike is just brilliant, man. She comes up with all her brutal one-liners in it are just amazing. She's a little bit like a character from that film she did a few years ago, We Care a Lot, where she's just absolutely brutal in every line she delivers. Also, Kerry Mulligan is in it, and I didn't recognise her character in it. That's how transformative she is in it, because obviously she was in Promising Young Woman with Fennell before. Initially, because the film is so much Oliver's story, I thought that the other characters were slightly underwritten. You got a guy called Archie Madekwe who plays Felix's cousin Farley, and Venetia, Felix's sister, played by Alison Oliver. But as the film progresses, everyone gets their moment to shine, and both of them have amazing scenes in the last couple of acts of the film. You know, you kind of look, they're fine, they're doing what they do. And then you get to the end and they have these big scenes and you're like, holy fuck, they can really act as well. This is a massive recommendation for me. It's hilarious. It's very, very dark. It's dramatic. It's shocking. Absolutely riveting entertainment with a twisty plot that keeps you guessing where the story is going till the very, very end. And I don't use this word a lot, but I'm going to say it's a masterpiece.
Oh, big words.
It's been a good time at the cinema recently, man.
I mean, like out of those three movies, obviously, like Saltburn seems to be your favorite, but like, out of those three particular movies, how many of those three do you think might make it to your top 10 list at the end of the year?
I would say 2 out of 3.
Really? I don't want to know which ones. I'm just interested because like you've spoken very highly of all three of them. And I think that happens very often. Where there's like,
I think in another year, Nicolas Cage could potentially get an Oscar nomination for Dream Scenario,
really,
because he's that good in it. Yeah. I just think I think they've kind of mismarketed the film a little bit in hopes to like bump up the box office.
Yeah.
And not giving into the weirdness of it outright. I mean, the trailer has got some pretty weird stuff in it, but it kind of made me think, oh, it's slightly conventional comedy. And it's not. But you can't really advertise what the film's like. Because people were like, that just sounds fucked up. No, I don't want to see that. Same with Saltburn. Although, to be fair, Saltburn wears its kind of colours on its sleeves even in the trailer.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you could do much with that. Like, if you drew people into that movie on a theatrical trailer basis that was kind of outside of its actual box, you'd be in a bit of trouble, because you just get a lot of angry people as opposed to a lot of entertained people, I think.
Exactly, man.
Judging by what you said.
Yeah. So that I would say, yeah, all three of them are really worth catching, man, when you get the chance. But now we're coming into our spoiler section. Cue the spoiler alerts.
Oh, that's that thing I do.
This is your spoiler alert.
So first up, we are going to talk The Creator. And, man, what a film. Ben, what did you think?
Oh, come on, man. It's like easily one of the best films I've seen in the last few years. Like, I can't really talk highly enough about this. Like, it was beautifully shot, incredibly edited. I thought it was poignant. I thought it was important. I thought it asked a lot of questions that people are asking and arguing about right now. It didn't really, don't know if it necessarily answers any, but it puts the questions out there, which is great. And just incredibly well acted as well. I mean, like, if you want if you want a seamless cast, it's very rare you're going to find one, but this is as close to it as you're going to get for my money.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should briefly talk about the plot. And that is, we live in a world where AI detonated a nuclear explosion over Los Angeles, which led to the world pretty much being split into America versus Asia. America in this are pretty much the bad guys, because they're completely against AI. They have just really basic computer systems now. And, whereas over in Asia, there's like AI is living hand in hand with all the people over there. And it seems a much happier, normal place, if that makes sense.
And there's like augmented people as well. They've got like cyborg implants and stuff. But also, it's not just America, is it? It's America and like parts of Europe and stuff. They've created
Eurasia, isn't it?
Eurasia, yeah. They've built this basically it's East versus West argument that we're always having. I'm not entirely sure where Russia stood in the whole thing, if I'm honest.
John David Washington's character is sent to capture and destroy the AI, which turns out to be a young robotic girl who is supposed to be the AI's ultimate weapon, and whichever side possesses her, apparently, will win the war once and for all.
He's an undercover guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
His whole thing is like he's been entrenched with the enemy, quote unquote.
John David Washington, obviously, the last thing we saw him in was probably Tenet.
Yeah.
And he's so much better in this. I mean, he wasn't bad in Tenet.
He was great in Tenet, man. I thought he was really good in that.
Well, what I kind of got, because remember we watched the trailer for this a while back, and it was like, right, so it's, there's bits of Terminator, there's little bits of Avatar, there's definitely a bit of a James Cameron feel to it, with obviously all those films being Cameron films. The one thing Avatar didn't have for me in any either of the two films was great acting.
Or plot, or good storyline that wasn't Pocahontas. Fuck those movies. Yeah. Cannot stand them. Yeah. And I'm almost insulted that you put The Creator in the same category as those movies.
Only in the irony that clearly Edwards was influenced by Cameron, and arguably he's made a better Cameron film than Cameron actually has in decades.
Yeah, but I mean, like Cameron made it, for me, Cameron made his best movies when he was younger, because there was this sort of rawness to him. When you look at like the stuff that he did, like early days. Like,
the original Terminator.
Yeah, that was literally the thing I was thinking of. Was like the original Terminator. It was so gritty because he had no money.
Yeah,
and he had to do his best with it. And although he didn't have no money in the terms of Hollywood, he just had very little money, I guess. So like the more money he got, the smoother things become. And that, I feel like sometimes that works really well. Like Spielberg does it really well. The more money you give Spielberg, the better his movie is going to be, in a broad sense. But like a director like Cameron, if you make him struggle a bit, if you push his buttons and make him struggle, you're going to get a much grittier, fun movie, in my opinion.
I mean, let's face it, he only really had that on his first film, didn't he? Because Terminator was a big success. And then what was his next film? Terminator 2, True Lies, Titanic.
Yeah.
The thing with Cameron is, and what I think is very clever the way his career's gone, is he makes every one of his films an event film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone has to go and see it, no matter, look at the reaction to Avatar 2. Most people could not give a shit. Trailers come out, I'm still like, but everyone fucking went and saw it, didn't they? You know?
He was kind of with the first Avatar because it was the 3D thing, wasn't it? He was like,
3D sold that.
It was less about the movie and more about bringing 3D back, and it's going to be huge. And he wasn't wrong. Like, it looked great in 3D. It was just Blue Pocahontas.
Dances with Smurfs. I think you've never heard that before. Literally,
Never.
South Park did an episode called Dances with Smurfs. And
Amazing.
When you watch this, you can see so many of Cameron's influences in the film. You know, you got the marine, the marine kind of characters.
Oh, the Space Marines from Aliens.
Space Marines.
Yeah.
I was like, they're from Aliens.
You got like you got the synths from Blade Runner.
Yeah,
like I think I went through the whole movie and I was like, oh my god, it was like this, and they were all like top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, we actually got a like from the cinematographer of the film on one of my tweets about the film.
Good lad.
From Orange Sofa. And it's a weird way the film was kind of filmed, because originally it was going to be shot by Greg Fraser, who did Dune and The Batman.
Oh, cool.
So literally one of the best cinematographers in the world at the minute. And then with COVID delays and Dune being pushed back and all that kind of stuff, what happened was, I think Sofa was going to be on the crew, and he ended up basically kind of being mentored by Fraser through parts of it remotely. And then Sofa just went off and basically shot most of it himself.
Wow.
But Gareth Edwards himself was a camera op on most of the film as well. What this film did well, and even though it's not set the box office on fire and people were labelling it a flop, however, as we record this, it's made 103 million on a budget of 80. But arguably, the film looks like it cost 250 to 300 million. I think even though it didn't make big bank at the box office, Hollywood has sat up and gone, fucking hire this guy anytime, because he can make the budget stretch, man.
I mean, I can't believe that budget was that small. Like, honestly, like, it's silky smooth. I mean, that floating space station that they got, which is how the what did you call it? Americasia, whatever it was called. Eurasia, which is that 80s synth band. The floating platform that they use in this giant space station, like, it's easily as good as anything in like Avengers Endgame or like the more expensive Star Wars movies.
That space station is called Nomad. Well, I think getting back, mentioning like the budget of the film, I've listened to a few. There's literally an Empire magazine spoiler podcast with Edwards about The Creator that I've just listened to in the last week or so, and some of the info you gain from that is most of it was filmed on location in Thailand, and he went out there with a really tiny crew with a Sony prosumer camera. So what that basically means to people who don't know the cameras is it's about, I don't know, $4 or $5 which is a lot, but that's not what you pay on a professional camera, right? Like a top of high-end Hollywood movie camera. That's not what they filmed it on. They filmed it on a camera anyone could go out and buy if they're into, like, filming, basically.
Amazing.
Or they could rent even.
He Blair Witched it.
Basically, but the reason it looks so amazing is he went to all these different countries over Asia, filmed the backgrounds, and then took that footage and then says, right, just paint in the spaceships there, paint in that bit there, make that bit robot there. And ILM were just like, well, I don't know if this is going to work, because no one had tried it before. They tried it and it looked fucking amazing, and cost them a fraction of the money.
Amazing.
And so, like, everyone, again, even for Hollywood overall, they're like, wow, this is how we do sci-fi films from now on.
God, I mean, like,
because usually what they do, they'd hire a big green screen studio for 2 years, and that would be it.
Yeah, well, it's the volume now. Everything's done in the volume, right? Like the
volume as well.
It's huge.
But even like the volume, you can notice it in some of the Star Wars stuff that you can tell, because all they've done is the only set dressing is like a plant in the foreground, or the bike is real. And I think, like any tool, it needs to be used properly to get the best out of it.
Yeah.
When I have to do the odd bit of green screen work, the first thing I always ask the camera is like, now, was it lit properly? Because if it's not lit properly, it makes my job take fucking ages.
Yeah.
And you have to like spend ages. If it's lit perfectly, you click one button and it's gone. If it's not, you got to fuck around for ages. So I imagine that's just like a higher scale, and not necessarily down to the talent of the people doing it, but down to time and money, which I'm guessing it always is in Hollywood. Sadly, yes, you've got less time and less money.
There's like, I think we were saying on one of the podcasts like a while back now that there's only limited resources as well. There's only so many studios that can do that amount of work at that high quality.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
and most of them are booked solid for years in advance.
Yeah. I mean, and now that the strike has ended, like, well done, SAG-AFTRA. Now that the strike's ended, like, that is only going to snowball because of the release schedules. Everything's been pushed back, and
I mean, I think the one thing we have to talk about in the film, and this is kind of what I was mentioning, but I don't think I really got the point out properly when talking about Cameron, was The acting in this is superb. John David Washington and the young girl, Madeline Una Voiles, who plays Alfie. I mean, holy shit, she was superb, man.
Yeah.
She was so good. I bought their relationship from the trailer. Like in the trailer, when I watched that trailer, I was just like, they've got me, man. Like that relationship was there.
Yeah. It was seamless, wasn't it? It was really like, I mean, when they first meet in that it's almost like Alien in that giant vault room that they've kept the special weapon in, and no one knows the special weapon's a child. So like when he turns up and finds a special weapon, like he's like, oh, all right, it's a kid. But I guess I'm gonna have to kill it. He has this moment where he's like kind of saves her, I guess, and then he's kind of against sort of taking her on board as like a companion, and it just they're forced together, and that's what pushes them together. It makes no sense. They're forced together in their escape, and therefore their survival ends up like relying on each other.
Obviously, the whole thing goes on then. Oh, we need to find the creator, Niamata, who ends up being Gemma Chan, who still hadn't decided quite on what accent she was doing, because in the early stuff she's clearly English. And then when we see her later on, she's Australian. I was like, what happened there? And it wasn't me. Like I'd thought that when I watched it, and then they mentioned it in one of the other podcasts I listened to. It was like, yeah, about her accent. I was like, that literally just could have been filmed so far apart that they'd made that choice then and decided not to later on.
Oh, she was just doing a Sam Neill in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, or a Sean Connery in any film. I'm a Spanish space pirate. Ah,
excellent.
It was funny as well seeing Alison Janney, CJ from The West Wing, as Colonel Howell, who basically just walks around murdering everyone.
Yeah, she was kind of a badass. Like there was a point in that where I was like, oh, she's like evil Ripley, she's just picking up fucking massive guns and blowing people away, like pretended to be everybody's friend because she's like the mum character, and then actually she's not. She's like the wicked stepmother kind of character to fall into Disney tropes.
Well, it was funny on the pod, like when we talked about the trailer a few episodes back, and David was on, and he goes, and he literally said, he goes, yeah, but this film's going to bomb because no one's heard about it. They're not promoting it. And he yelled out to his missus, he goes, Tasha, there's a film called The Creator coming out. Have you heard about it? No, she hasn't heard about it. And I laughed at the time. But he was right. And but I don't think it's because the marketing, because there was a brilliant poster as I was driving to work. There's a billboard just outside Folkestone that had, and I'm paraphrasing here, she was sent to save us. And then over that, someone had like spray painted destroy.
Oh, okay.
And I thought that's really cool.
Yeah,
because there was a church sign next to it as well, which was completely independent. I was like, that's amazing.
Oh, now I
who
know.
have decided that goes there? Probably not that much thought went into it. I think one of the reasons it bombed is because America is the villain in the film, like obviously so.
Yeah,
and I don't think you really see that portrayed in mainstream Hollywood films where America is the bad guy.
It's like America's the villain, but only in so much as they reacted to a huge attack, which is what people do, which is what any country would do. And like, if you haven't seen the movie, the attack happens in LA, and there's a huge bomb goes off, and it like wipes out a whole bunch of LA. And our hero's first job is like going into this like radioactive zone and clearing out like all the AI so that they can destroy it. And like you get a really good sense that it's like it's affected everybody. Like it's really decimated a country, and the country's sort of like grown resilient together of AI. So for me, like it was reactionary as opposed to like a pig-headed attempt at just ignoring things. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, there's that like really subtle line drop later on when I think it's Ken Wanatobi's character. Do you know why the thing was fired? It was human error.
Yeah.
And I was like, boom, right there.
Yeah,
like, actually, it was your guy's fault.
Yep. It was that that kind of sealed it. I think for me, there was like the whole movie is like an allegory for how humans react. Like it's like this big thing happened, so the new outlier, like the technology must have been to blame because we would never make a mistake like that. Like humans are perfect. Like we are this perfect creation that would never do something like that. And it was our fault. It was a coding error. It was like a one where it should have been a zero, and it launched a nuclear missile, and they blamed it on AI. And it's like, for that point of view, it's like a cover up. It's like almost like a CIA thing, like where you get this huge cover up and blaming the AI so that no humans get blamed. But
which is a totally human thing to do.
Very human, very Western thing to do as well, which I think is which is why, like, you know, Asia or the Asian continents are the ones that embrace AI and go, well, look, you know, it wasn't an AI problem when we're fine with it, and we're doing really well with AI as a part of our lives.
Yeah, and that was what I got. That's what I liked when I was watching it. I was like, oh, like AI is completely everyone. They were living in harmony together over there, weren't they? There was no kind of. I mean, there was that one bit when, like, was it they're going down the road? You see, like, robot, like, drug dealers, like, well, at least that's what it looked like. I think when it's like down one of the side alleys, and he's like, oh, like shifty looking robots.
It's weird, isn't it?
Shifty looking things. Together.
There's moments in it where, like, the robots are acting so human. Like they've been allowed to almost like grow their programming in a way where they're like they've got their own like mentalities and stuff, and that was amazing to me. Like, I liked where that went. I thought it was really clever. It was
that scene when they're like, there's a scene when, like, in one of the huts where they're like playing cards,
and
all the things like that. And
but they're like,
it really humanizes them, doesn't it?
It's like, and it's that part of it which seemed like Apocalypse Now, because you've got that like entrenched like war kind of like going on, and
you're right, that is the plot of Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. Pretty much.
You know, Martin Sheen's character is sent deep into the enemy under to kill Colonel Kurtz.
He's not undercover, is he? He's like Charlie Sheen.
Well, at the very start he was.
Yeah, at the very start he was.
Sergeant Joshua Taylor.
Joshua Taylor, right. So Josh, as he is commonly known to his friends, is undercover to start with, but he goes native. And that's the start of the movie. So he's with one of the resistance leaders, who you then find out is
Maya.
Yeah, but
Gemma Chan's character, who is No Matter,
right? So he's been where he needed to be for so long that, like, he doesn't even notice that he's with the very person he's been sent to kill. So, like, and that's where the movie starts. So for me, like, the Apocalypse Now, like, part of references are in there quite a lot, but like this,
definitely,
that bit at the end where you've got like the soldier robots playing cards and stuff like that, it's got that feel to it that like war isn't just constantly shooting and killing people. There's like the downtime as well, and then they send in assassins that kill everybody, and it's not very nice.
I mean, like we've been over, I think we said the music, the cinematography, the direction, the performances, the CGI in this film is all top tier, all amazing. I was trying to think of any negatives to it, and the only minor negatives I can really think is the story is not wholly original. But I mean, to be fair, what is these days?
Yeah,
and I think what Edwards does so well is blends all these different bits, like Apocalypse Now, Terminator 2.
Yeah,
you know, AI, obviously the Spielberg Kubrick one. AI always really annoyed me because I thought it was this close to being an absolutely perfect 5-star film, and then Spielberg tagged his ending on the end.
Well, he didn't have much choice. I mean, Kubrick died, so I mean,
no, but I reckon Kubrick's ending, and I've never really researched this, but I think Kubrick's ending was the whole thing is David is searching for the Blue Fairy, right? Mm-hmm. At the end of the film, he sinks into the sea, goes down and sees a blue fairy, which is like on some building at the bottom of the sea. And he's happy. And then it ends. And you're like, oh, that's dark, but awesome. Then 1,000 years later.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, no.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it was like that was the biggest example of the complete dichotomy between two absolutely different directors. You know, the cold harshness of Kubrick and then like the warm fuzziness of Spielberg. But they were like back-to-back scenes. I was like, if you just ended it there, Steve, if you just ended it there, it would have been so much better. I mean, it's a great film anyway, but oh man.
Yeah, but I mean, like the parallels to the Creator in like the child being the savior and stuff is amazing. And there's really awesome scenes in there where there's like, do you remember the bit where there's those like, God, what are they, like kamikaze robots that are like just a giant bomb with legs and arms, and they just set them down and they just run at the target, and when they get to target, like or the time runs out, they just blow up, and like the kid, like it's on a bridge. And it's this old rickety wooden bridge, and the kid stops one of these robots, and it's like you're just like, oh no, the kid's gonna get fucking done. Like the kid's gonna get shot. It's gonna be really bad. And he stops this robot, and it's like, and you're just like, okay, everybody's seeing this, everybody's watching this kid, like this like Messiah-esque kid, like stopping this robot, and it's just like, oh shit, he is like the chosen one. But the way that scene played out, because normally in those moments you'd be like, oh, the kid shut the robot down and it's fine, and then everybody gets away from it and it blows up, you know. It's like, but it doesn't. Like it he gets shot or something, or something happens to him, and as he's pulled away from the robot starts running again, and it does the damage that it was initially set out to do, which is something I really like about Gareth Edwards in his entirety of the movies that I've watched. In that pretty much everybody dies. He's very much a Reservoir Dogs director. Like, if you look at the end of Rogue One, like, nobody fucking survives that, man. Like, not even those guys on the spaceship that are running away from Darth Vader.
His first film, Monsters, that was a little bit more positive at the end, if I remember rightly. Yeah, but the couple survived in that, didn't they?
But who dies in that? There's like a big death in that I can't remember, and I'll have to look up in a second. But like, it's he's very he's pretty brazen when it comes to things like that. He does love to yeah, now you're emotionally connected to these people. They're fucking dying. Have that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what he does next, man.
Yeah, I mean, do you think he's going to get given a big property like a franchise film, or is he going to do something of his own? Because I mean,
it depends how much freedom he wants. Because obviously, he's been there with Disney with Star Wars Rogue One, and it wasn't a good experience for him,
right?
And so that kind of writes him off. Never know. James Gunn might hire him over at DC.
Yeah, but that sucks because none of their movies are good. Like, I mean, it's
not yet, but we've got faith in the reboot.
Have we? I haven't.
I think so.
No.
Well, having said that, did you see the slightly off topic? But did you see the Warner Brothers story that they shelved another film that had been finished?
No.
Yeah, it's a Roadrunner film, like an Acme versus Roadrunner film.
God.
And it was spent 2 years working on it. John Cena's in it playing the human,
right?
And the design of it all was kind of like a modern day version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, with like that proper old school 2D. And it's been test screened everywhere, stupidly high scores. Everyone was really excited about it, and then because they predicted it wasn't going to make enough money, they decided to fucking shelve it and get a £30 million tax write off.
They love burning money over there at Warner Brothers, don't they? They're just.
But actually, this only just happened today. So that happened like a couple of days ago. So everyone was ranting about it, as you rightly should. Oh, James Gunn fucking co-produced it as well, produced it.
Really?
Like literally. So everyone was like, "Oh fuck, is Gunn gonna say fuck you and walk?" Like,
nah.
Literally his first thing he produces there.
I mean, he's in it. He's in it for the DC stuff. He's not in it I don't think he's in it for Warner. Like, I think he's
no.
And that's a saving
grace.
But
he produced the film, right? So they decide to fucking burn it. I mean, you'd be pissed, wouldn't you? Like, especially if you're the producer and you're the director going, right, so 2 years of my life down the toilet.
Yeah, and whatever
for a tax write off,
and whatever you've been paid is probably not going to be anywhere near as much as the back end of that deal. So,
having said that, there's been such a negative reaction to it online, as you can imagine, the last couple of days. Warner Bros. Have now said, no, look, the film's finished. We'll sell it to another company and they can release it.
Wow, that'll be on Netflix soon then.
Yeah, and if any streaming service, just go and buy it, clearly, because you'll get all the goodwill with that one, won't they?
Imagine Disney bought it and made $1 million, made my oh, that'd be great. Oh, that'd be so good.
I think that rounds us off on The Creator. It's awesome. Go and see it, because literally none of you did at the cinema when it was out.
Go and see it. It's absolutely out of this world good, and I think it deserves eyeballs all over it.
Exactly. All the eyeballs. Next up, we are going to be talking Nia DaCosta's follow-up to 2019's Captain Marvel, with Brie Larson returning as a titular character. However, this isn't Captain Marvel 2, this is The Marvels. And Carol Danvers is joined by Iman Vellani's Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, and Tiona Paris's Monica Rambeau. And what essentially we get is an intergalactic team-up movie, with all three key characters working together to stop Zawe Ashton's brilliantly named Kree baddie, Dar-Ben, which sounds like a noise a computer makes when it's not working, from using a quantum bangle to give her powers to open up jump points. So think instant teleportation pretty much anywhere in the universe. And but they're all unstable and they will destroy the universe as usual if all used. At the start of the film, Monica is in space investigating an anomaly that turns out to be a jump point, while at the same time, Carol is investigating the source where Dar-Ben has just found one of these bangles. Which leads us to the other bangle, which of course Kamala is wearing, which she got from McGran. Now this leads to what we saw in the trailer, which is whenever they use their powers simultaneously, they all swap locations, which leads to many brilliantly funny action scenes throughout. And as all three of them keep switching between Kamala's house, which gets wrecked, and in a nice nod at the end, they do get Monica's house, which was probably in a different state, so I'm not quite sure how that worked, because they were really big on the New Jersey thing, and I don't remember where Monica lived, but it definitely wasn't in New Jersey. And then we jump between Kamala's house getting wrecked, a Kree spaceship, and the Saber space station, which is where we find Nick Fury, who clearly wanted to forget Secret Invasion, just like the rest of us, and he doesn't clearly mention anything about that terrible blight on the MCU. And guess what? Nick Fury is fun again. Yes, Kamala's family, Goose, and the army of Flurkins are basically stuck on Saber all film, but it's done well and it gives us some comic relief when the main characters have to deal with their drama. Let's not dwell too much on the villain in the film, though, because the film doesn't. And that's fine, really, because what we really wanted from this film is Marvel, what we really wanted from the Marvels was Kamala fangirling over Carol, exploring why Carol never returned after Captain Marvel, and Samuel L. Jackson, Goose, and Flurkin action. And that's what we got, man. That's what we got. What did you think, Ben?
Yeah, it was a solid outing, a solid Marvel, solid outing. I mean, I did
sound not as thrilled.
Yeah, I wasn't really like it was like, I don't know. It was just good. It was just average. Like, it was turn your brain off, like have some fun. It wasn't anywhere near as good as like some of the Guardians of the Galaxy's out in. Like, I had the overall feel for me, which is almost going to go against what I just said. The overall feel of it for me felt more like Spider-Man MCU and Guardians of the Galaxy, as opposed to like Iron Man, Avengers movies, which is where she started. So I went into it, I guess, and I wasn't expecting that feel,
right?
Which is fine, like, it doesn't matter. I like when things shift tonally and it makes sense. But overall, like, it was just good. Like, I loved Captain Marvel. I thought that movie was brilliant, and I was really hoping they'd bring some of that quirk into this outing. But it feels like they just put too many people in it. It was like there was. Is Captain Marvel really a strong enough character? Because it was originally supposed to be Captain Marvel 2, and then the studio got a bit scared and went, team-up movies, that's where it's at. Everybody wants a team-up movie. Let's put the adorable Kamala Khan in it, who's like bumbling over her powers, is great. And I really loved Miss Marvel as a series. I thought it was really, really good. I love like the way they brought some of that series, like comic sketch kind of stuff into the opening credits and that.
Yeah, that was really nicely done.
A really good nod. And yeah, like her family are hilarious in it, and it's great. But like, there was just a wasted character in Monica Rambeau. Like, she did very little. I didn't really understand her powers, because they tried to make this tenuous link, like, all our powers are created from light. And I'm like,
clunky exposition scene.
I don't know about that. I feel like Captain Marvel's powers are based off the back of one of the Infinity Stones, which wasn't the Light Stone. It was the I'm going to fuck you up stone. So, like, it got a bit washy and it rushed over a few things. If Monica Rambeau wasn't in the movie, I feel like it would have been easier and a smoother ride overall.
You needed Monica in it because the key reason Carol doesn't return is, I mean, this is what not made me laugh, but like, so at an indeterminate point after the other films, she just goes and basically fucks up the Kree homeworld and destroys their son.
Well, she doesn't mean to. She thinks that the supreme intelligence, which is the AI that runs all of the Kree homeworld, she thinks that thing is bad and needs to be destroyed, and the Kree would then be free from the supreme intelligence, and they would thrive and they would do better. Turns out that the supreme intelligence was the only thing keeping that planet like alive. Like, she destroys the supreme intelligence, the sun goes out for some reason, you don't really find out why, the seas dry up, which I think is weird, bearing in mind the sun went out. What's going to get rid of the sea? And the air becomes poisoned. So she feels terrible about that. She's fucked up an entire planet and feels guilty and doesn't want to go back and face her family, which you still could have had if Monica Rambeau wasn't such a huge, part of the movie. She could have had a bit part. It would have been fine.
I mean, that was like her one storyline, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, why weren't you here, Carol?
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, that was it. And I think that's fair, because like that was a question that was asked so often, like after Avengers Endgame. It's like, where's she been? Where's she been? And it's like, people just can't accept the fact that like she wasn't there. Just fucking get over it. It doesn't matter.
They also had to depower her a little bit in this film, didn't they? Because she, like, obviously, she's there, going toe to toe with Thanos in Endgame.
Yeah, and then, I mean, what is she? Don't even get me started about Secret Invasion, where you've now.
No, that didn't exist, Ben. That was a bad trip.
It was a very bad trip. But like, there's now like a super Kree, a super Skrull, sorry, who has everyone's powers and is in effect more powerful than
I have Marvel. A feeling we will never see that character again, just like we'll never see Harry Styles' character again.
Let's hope that's true. So they kind of depowered her, but they also kind of didn't, because at the very end of the very end of the
Oh,
movie,
yeah, I mean, she ignites a
she ignites a sun, which is, I think that's, and she doesn't even get like,
try.
yeah. I was like, oh man, this is going to take a lot out of her, man. She's going to like sacrifice herself. This could be like, yeah, turns the sun on, brushes her shoulder off, gives him a little salute, and then leaves. Like, and it's it make your mind up, you know. Like, it's, again, this is one of my problems with movies, and especially time travel movies. This isn't a time travel movie, but I'm making a correlation. If you make the rules in your movie, you have to stick to those rules. Like, there's no point in saying that, like, if I go back in time and kill myself, like, I won't be there to kill myself, and then just go back in time, kill yourself, and then the movie stops. If you make those rules, you have to stick to them. And if you've made Carol Danvers, for whatever reason, slightly less powerful, then make her slightly less powerful and just go a little bit of exposition. Oh man, when we swap powers, it took some of her power away. That sucks, doesn't it?
That would have worked, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, but like, enough of me canning it. What you said about the fight scenes, like, I think there's some of the best choreographed fight scenes I've ever seen. Like,
it
where
was
they're
really fun as well.
Where they're switching powers, and they have to do like a Rocky montage almost to
the Beastie Boys.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I'm never going to be upset with the Beastie Boys being in the movie. Like, so yeah, like that was outstanding. And the Kamala Khan fangirling out over Carol Danvers was incredibly well done.
Yeah,
like,
it didn't get old. I saw like people online going, "Oh, I bet it gets old, right?" It's like, well, watch the film.
Yeah.
And no, it doesn't.
No, she's just met her hero, and she's in a team up with her, and that's, you know, it's a bit like, because Spider-Man does it. Like, he does it in the first two Spider-Man movies.
Honestly, man, she could be the female Spider-Man if they market it right. Look, I think you can give Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, her own film now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think we're heading that way, don't we?
Yeah, I mean,
which we'll talk about in a little bit.
I think that's completely valid. I'm not even upset about the movie. I think it's a good stepping stone for other things.
For me, I felt it was like a throwback to the early days of the MCU in like its structure. It, like, if you look at it in almost a structural point of view, it felt like the early Iron Man or the Thor in the way it was put together. Lackluster villains, heroes better than the villains, witty banter between the main character and other characters, like, you know, well, yeah, in this case, her team. A couple of cameos, so you got Valkyrie turning up for a next to nothing scene, but it's not an important cameo. And then, okay, we have to talk about it. So at the end of the film, when Kamala is sitting there in the shadows in Kate Bishop's apartment, we see Pizza Dog on the floor.
Amazing.
And she goes, "Kate Bishop, I'm putting a team together." I was like, fuck yeah. It's like a complete one, you know, it's a complete redo of the Samuel L. Jackson Avengers thing, wasn't it?
It was great. Like, I love that. I think that's great. And I liked that Haley Steinfeld was in it. I do enjoy a cameo.
And then obviously the mid-credits scene, which we'll talk about right at the very end.
Yeah.
Sets up bigger things. So if you look at the structurally what they did with it,
does it?
I think maybe.
I mean, we'll get onto that, but we'll see.
We'll get onto that.
I mean, let's not get onto it yet, because you're making a very good point about like the cameos and stuff and everything that's happening in that movie. But like, I think you're right in the terms of like early MCU movies. If Feige's all of a sudden gone, right, we've got to go back to basics because things are starting to spiral now. Like, if he's gone, we need to make a movie that is a simple movie. And you're right. I mean, the villain wasn't one of the most like aggressive or notable. That's a good way of saying it. Villains, but like she did a part. Like,
she had a point.
Yeah, I mean, but the best villains are the ones that you empathise with.
I think she could have been better if they'd given her maybe one more scene of like, because you get that one bit where Captain Marvel is in a annihilator mode, just destroying the planet, and just killing people left, right, and centre, and you see her get like knocked under a bunch of rubble from it. So okay, great, good villain origin story.
Yeah,
but it's never really clear what was the whole point of the drum points again.
So the jump points, they're those like hexagonal things that you see.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, it was to siphon the power from somewhere.
There you go.
And restore their plans.
Well, yeah. So basically, she was her whole thing was she needed three things to save her planet, and it was reignite the sun or take the power of a sun, fill up the oceans, and clean air. The first jump point so basically what she's doing, if you remember, if you've watched Guardians of the Galaxies and you know how they travel through space, is those hexagonal like doorways. Yeah. Basically, she opens one of them.
I watched Guardians of the Galaxy?
I'm talking to the viewing public right now, my friend. You get this doorway, and what she's doing is basically wedging open these doorways and stealing like the air from a planet. But
Gotcha.
and then she goes to the next planet and she's stealing the sea from that planet. But what you find out later on is that she's going to places that have significance to Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel is the Annihilator and she's the one that like destroyed their planet. She's destroying planets that Captain Marvel loves.
I mean, it's a good nickname, isn't it?
The Annihilator.
Annihilator.
I mean, she doesn't like it. Makes her all mad and stuff. And then you find out
Carol the Annihilator.
Carol the Annihilator, Captain Marvel. That's a lot. It's too wordy. I don't like it.
Too much, yeah. Well, actually, that's kind of good there, because you bring us on to one of the other scenes, which was the strange water singing planet.
Yeah, who would have known that? I mean, I like that there was a musical element to this, and it wasn't like Disney musical. It was like, how can we put a musical in a fucking Marvel movie? How can we do that? Because everybody, for some reason, directors, they get to a point and they're like, you know what, I've always wanted to do a musical. And you're like, well, why? I mean, like, you know, like it worked very well in Buffy the Vampire Slayer for sure, but like, you know, like I'd see it from time to time, and you're like, why are you shoehorning in a musical?
Yeah.
And then I think of Strange New Worlds, where it worked really, really well.
Really well.
But like, so they did it really well in that, like, the exposition was perfect. It's, don't make a big deal of it. These guys' language is song. And it's like, what? So like you get this weird like Carol all of a sudden, like you find out that she's married to the prince of the planet. She's like, it's a marriage of convenience, don't worry about it. And the other two are just completely lost. They can't sing. They don't know how to like dance and communicate.
I don't know. Kamala gets into the dancing. She's like loving it.
She is, but she's doing it in that like she's not just on board with anything because she's excited to be there, which is even better because like it just highlights how fish out of water they are on a planet that's 90% sea. I really enjoyed that part, and I thought it was really clever.
That scene was a little bit maybe too much of it. I mean, it was fine. Like I didn't love it though. I was just like, right, we're on it just the tonal shift, like you say, was a bit like I was like, right, we're on a singing planet now. Okay,
but it's no more. It's no different to anything else that you've seen in like in the MCU. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, it wasn't as much of a push out of the movie as the end of say Indiana Jones.
Do you know what it was? For me,
Destiny,
it was the fact that the prince was this massive South Korean actor star, who probably most of us in the West haven't heard of.
Never.
But they're going, if we put him in it, loads of people are going to go and see it.
Oh God, that's so sad. Like he definitely didn't seem like the right casting for that.
No.
And it's got nothing to do with anything other than his style of acting. Like came across as really stern and really just like forthright in like a way of like it's almost like he took the job a little bit too seriously. And it's like I think he was the prince of a singing planet, and he didn't really smile that much. I was like, man,
he's just really fucked off for having to sing all the time. Yeah?
I mean, you know what? If that's the way he plays it, then fucking good on him. Like that's smart. But it did that. That was the only bit of the movie where I was like, I don't know, was he the right guy for this? Fuck it, who cares? Like it's fine.
We did mention earlier about Kamala at the end meeting up with Kate Bishop. There's a mention of Cassie Lang at one point as well. So we are heading for hopefully a Young Avengers movie. Let's say movie. I don't want a TV show. I want a movie. But what's the roster going to be? Let's go through it.
Oh, all right. I wasn't expecting this.
You can correct me as well, man, because you probably know more about it than me.
All right. No pressure.
No pressure. I've done a little bit of Wikipedia earlier today. So obviously you're going to have Miss Marvel, because she's the Nick Fury of it, at least judging from that appearance at the end.
Is there going to be someone else who's going to be the Nick Fury? I mean, like, she's doing, for me, she's doing what Tony Stark was doing when he went to see, Colonel Ross at the end of the Hulk movie.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe there's going to be like another Nick Fury-esque character.
I'm putting a team together, yeah. Then you've obviously got Kate Bishop, which, brilliant. Bring Hailey Steinfeld in. She was fantastic in Hawkeye.
Yep.
Does that mean you're going to get Yelena? Probably not.
Yelena.
Because she's going to be in the Thunderbolts.
I was about to say that there's the Thunderbolts thing that's going to happen, which, I think she's too old as well. Like, she's definitely not.
Well, there's that joke about Kate Bishop because she said she's 23.
23, yeah. Yes, true. I'm 23.
And of course, you got Cassie Lang, who was fine
in that really interesting movie.
Yeah,
in that Ant-Man movie. That makes no sense.
There you go. Like, obviously, best Marvel film of the year was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. But this is better than Quantumania, right?
Easily. And I mean, Quantumania had Bill Murray in it, which, normally makes a movie incredible. But like, just from his presence, because I'm a huge fan. Who else is going to be in this lineup?
Well, not to be that guy, but so far you've got potentially 4 women on the team and no blokes. So
fair enough.
I was thinking about it. Well, who potentially could you have? So doing a little bit of research earlier, Eli Bradley. So Isaiah Bradley was one of the original super soldiers who was given his power, and he was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
He was, yeah.
And there's a whole racism
yeah.
storyline because
Well, he was after Steve Rogers, I believe. I think when Rogers went into the ice, they tried the Super Soldier program, and he was
gotcha.
He was the next level.
And in the comic books, in some of the comic books, apparently he ends up giving his grandson a blood transfusion, and he gets all his powers. He gets like super strength, all that kind of stuff.
Does he become Patriot?
I'm not sure, but did we see him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yes, he's the one he's there, like protect his granddad, and he's playing basketball and stuff.
So he could be in it then.
Sweet, if he's Patriot, that'd be rad. That could be cool. Oh God, you know who else is going to be in it? This is going to be an absolute clusterfuck. That stupid fucking Hulk guy from She-Hulk, Hulk's son.
Well, he wasn't in the comics that I know of.
Well, there was Hulkling was in the comics.
But in the Young Avengers was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't have a weird bowl haircut like Jim Carrey in fucking Dumb and Dumber. So,
I mean, I think they can probably resort that out in time if he's going to be in it, right?
Yeah, sure. Oh.
Okay. Then you've got Wiccan,
yeah,
an alias of William Kaplan, who is the reincarnated son of Scarlet Witch and Vision. So basically, that annoying kid Billy from WandaVision.
Wow.
Recast, grown up, and apparently he has Scarlet Witch's powers.
Okay.
So again, I think you age him up a bit, cast someone better, so you get like a Scarlet Witch character, kind of. But he's in the comics. He's one of the main members in the comics.
Yeah, he is.
If you're getting Billy, that also means you're going to get
Speed.
Tommy, yeah.
Tommy.
But he gets Speed from his uncle, Quicksilver, which I don't know how that works.
Oh, man, genetics. I'm not going to get into it. There's someone clever out there that could describe comic book genetics to us.
Yeah, and not clearly comic book incest, which is what I was like, I'm sorry, how do you get your uncle's powers when your brother genetically gets his powers from his mum and his dad, and you get your uncle's powers?
Well, like some of us when we were kids looked like our uncles, all right? And that had nothing to do with incest, so you just shut the fuck up.
Okay, so they're the two characters that definitely need to be recasted and aged up a little bit if they're going to bring them in.
Yeah.
Because those two kids annoyed the piss out of me in that show, despite me loving the show.
Yeah,
you've got America Chavez.
Oh, yeah.
From Multiverse of Madness, who hopefully will get given a character.
What is she called? What's she called? It's not Star, is it? It's Miss...
She was called Plot MacGuffin in Multiverse of Madness.
That's fucking brilliant, because well done on making that up. She's Miss America or Star or whatever the character is. Like there's there's definitely a character, America Chavez is.
And she's been introduced, so again, give her an actual character now and something to do. That isn't just she's the thing that we need to get in the film. And so she could be brought into it. You had Riri Williams introduced in Wakanda Forever, who she's like female Iron Girl.
Oh,
I don't know her actual name in the comics.
Yeah.
So she's been introduced now as well.
Young Avengers had Iron Lad, which was a guy. Richards.
Reed?
No. But yeah, like, I mean, yeah, she was, I don't know, like she had that kind of Iron Person-esque thing going on.
She had the suit, didn't she? So
she didn't have the scathing sarcasm, which I really enjoyed about Iron Man, but maybe that will come.
She was a bit sarcastic, I think, in...
I think she was just teenage. Like she was just being very teenage.
And the last one I was thinking is, could you have Shuri there? But I mean, she is kind of Black Panther and Queen of Wakanda as well.
Maybe she could be the Nick Fury-esque like kind of vibe, because she would have all the resources, right?
And obviously, you got her and Riri have already like worked together, whereas all these other characters haven't really interacted at all.
Interesting.
So they're going to have to do some retooling to make it work as well, man. But I mean, I want to see. I think they can obviously base some of it from the comics, but just go your own way with it. I think use the comics as like a basic framework if you need to. Kate Bishop and Kamala Khan together will be hilarious.
Do you think that's going to be a series before? So it'll be like the next Kamala Khan-esque series, because that's how they get around.
Do a setup.
That's how they get around her family moving to fucking Iowa or wherever that like building is. And
where
then
the corn is.
She moves into Kate Bishop's apartment and can still be the savior of New Jersey from that place.
That's a good thought, man. Yeah, I mean, we don't know whether we're getting a Miss Marvel season 2 or Hawkeye season 2. So,
well, I mean, if they put them together,
just change the name, just call it something with both characters. Season 2.
There we go. Yeah, or just a brand new season.
I should be allowed to name things.
I know they've got Echo coming out soon, which would be the spin-off from Hawkeye. So,
but that apparently is going to be an 18 certificate show. and going to be spectacularly violent.
So they're paving the way for Daredevil, right?
Which they've now hired because they've realised it wasn't working,
Mm-hmm.
and they've stopped and restarted again on Daredevil.
Good.
And apparently the new showrunner of Daredevil is the guy who did The Punisher.
Nice!
And I fucking love The Punisher.
Yeah, I'm all on board.
I think
for
of
that.
all the Marvel Netflix shows, even more so than Daredevil, The Punisher was the best by far.
I think...
More Daredevil fan?
No, I was more of the team up.
Defenders?
Yeah, I like Defenders. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, all right. So I think we've got a pretty good team up there.
We've got a roster.
We've
figured out how to do it.
I think
so. Marvel, hire us.
I think seeing as Neil came up with the idea, he should direct it, and I'll produce. It'll be fantastic. We'll both write it, and you mark my words, it will be a Marvel movie.
It will make at least as much money, if not more, than the Marvels at the box office.
Yes, agreed.
Because they wouldn't have that happen again, so it wouldn't matter how bad we made it. They just throw millions at it. No, it can't be worse than that. We can't have another worse film. Throw money at it.
Yep.
That's how Hollywood works. Even if a film's shit, you throw money at the marketing and people still go and see it.
I mean,
it's amazing.
That's how most industries work. Like, you throw money at it, problems go away.
So, well, speaking of problems going away, no, that didn't work at all. That's not a good segue. We'll cut that.
Speaking of money.
Speaking of all the money, which Marvel will be making.
Yep.
Yeah,
nice.
Slight segue. That brings us on to the post-credit scene.
Yeah. The only one, right? Because I didn't
only one.
Because I didn't say to
Did you say till the very end?
No, I don't know. Hear cats meowing or whatever it was at the end. I was just...
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah, I told you, didn't I?
I
saved you that. Yeah.
I was the only person that left, by the way. So all the other people in the movie theater were just like, "What is that? Oh, does he not watch Marvel movies? I bet he's going to miss something special."
And I was wearing your Marvel shirt.
Yeah, being like, "Yeah, mugs."
Rather than have all this multiverse stuff and loads of complicated storylines, no, she gets 2 bangles and accidentally rips a hole in the fabric of the universe.
Yeah,
easy, subtle, eat nice and done.
We've all done it.
I quite like that because it was just so simply done. I got 2 bang, and then she exploded because of having too much bangle power.
Yeah, she was overly bangled, wasn't she? She was
overly bangled.
She accessorized far too much and then exploded. And
cost her life.
We've all done it.
Kamala obviously can use the bands.
So because Kamala was the chosen person, therefore that she gets to use the bangles. But Darben, the villain of the piece, Darben, she finally gets both bangles, and she's got old silly bollocks Hammer of Doom, isn't she? Which at one point Kamala's like addicted to like naming stuff, and she was. They were like they I can't remember what the hammer's actually called. It's like the whatever it's called, but she's like, I was going to call it the cosmic rod, and I fucking fell about. I was the only person laughing in the movie theater, but I was like, that was fucking brilliant because it was a throwaway line as well, and she delivered it so perfectly. Threw it away, and it caught me, and I was in fucking bits about that. The hammer gets quite swiftly taken over. She's not a supremely powerful villain, but she's committed to her cause, and she puts on both the bangles, and then rips a hole in space time, which is unfortunate because then the hanger on in the Marvels has to go and fix the hole.
Harsh. Yes, Captain Rambo.
Who never gets a name. She never gets a Marvel name. It's Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, and Kamala Khan is trying to come up with a nickname for her or a superhero name.
She did actually have a superhero name. She just hasn't been called it yet in this film.
Right.
She is apparently called Photon.
Right. Okay. Which explains the light-based powers and stuff.
The light-based powers, exactly. Yeah. Good old Monica. She flies off. Now, she's like, right, you need to close the hole, but from inside the hole. Why can't you close the hole from the other side of the hole?
Yeah.
And that was just dumb. And then even Carol says to her, it's closing by itself. You can just shoot through it. You can fly through it and it will still close. No, I can't. I need to stay here. I knew I wasn't coming back. What? No one knew that. It was dumb. That was a sacrifice moment that you could see coming a mile off. It was needed.
I know. It was because you got rid of a character that we didn't need. So it was. Yeah, have we? So I don't know, they could have done that a little better. It could have been, I like the explosion, I like the rip in the space time, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, everyone's got to talk about the multiverse a little bit, that's fine. She could have just out and out gone, look, I've got to go in there, I'm not coming back, see you around. Yeah, Carol, we're friends again now, because they weren't friends for the whole movie because she didn't come back. She's got separation anxiety or something. Yeah, they could have set that up a little better. I mean, you could see it coming a mile off. There was no way that she was coming back from it. Why did she have to go to the other side of the tear to fix the tear? Oh my God.
That's like going, I'm going to put this fire out, but I'm going to stand in the fire.
It's like it kind of is. It kind of is. But like, I mean, like even like Joss Whedon said of Avengers, he's like sometimes you get to the end of a movie and you just have to make these choices to get to the end of the movie. And he said that of Avengers. He was like, I know it's a cop out when you kill the mothership, all the aliens die, but like we couldn't be there for 4 weeks killing off all of these bad guys. You have to just
I'd watch that. You certainly watch it.
I mean, that would be definitely a better way to spend money than that secret invasion that never happened.
Well, it was secret.
It was very secret. So yeah, so like I understand why they just sort of like they kind of did it that way, but yeah, I think that there was other movies have done it better, and you could have just copied one of them because there's like 7 stories you can ever tell, and this is one of them.
Well, if you're going back to the ancient Greeks, fair enough.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, so that brings us to though the post-credit sequence, the infamous by now Marvel post-credit sequence, and we see Captain Monica waking up in a hospital bed next to her mum.
Her dead mum, which was a really cruel joke.
Yeah, right. She's like, Mum, I don't know you. I was like, oh, okay.
But then she freaks out. She's like, Mum, you're alive. Oh my God. And she has this massive emotional breakdown. And then, then someone comes in and says, oh, that's not your mum. And she goes, oh, all right. Like, it's completely fucking fine. She doesn't even like skip a beat. She's like, oh, that's not. Oh, okay. I get it. Yep. Fine.
Oh, she's wearing a different color. She's wearing a different suit. Fine.
Oh, yeah. And she's not dead. That was the giveaway.
But also, there's a giant blue guy there.
Oh, Kelsey fucking Grammer. Get the guy away from the MCU for the love of Christ. He is consistently like the only guy that's played like the same character through and through and through that I've been like, oh God, does he have to?
He only played him a couple of times, didn't he? I think he only came into the third one.
Oh, all right. Well, he was in the third one then, but he was like, for some reason, I really loved him.
Bad you remembered him.
I really liked him. I was like, he's perfect. He is kind of perfect for Beast. But like all of a sudden, for some reason, I'm really against him playing him now. Like they made him look really awesome in this though. This like X-Men universe thing, and I was like, oh, he looks fucking cool. All right, well done. But why is it Kelsey Grammer? Give someone else a chance, for God's sake.
Well, I mean, and then he goes, oh, there's that line where he goes, oh, Charles will want to meet her, and I was thinking, well, which Professor X are we going to get?
Yeah,
because Patrick Stewart is done, man. Like he had his little cameo as him. Let the guy retire, man.
Yeah. Give him a bunch of money and let him go and do whatever he wants.
So does that mean they're going to do McAvoy and combine them?
Oh, I don't.
McAvoy was quite good, or do you just recast?
I like McAvoy as well. But this is the thing, isn't it? It's like they're going to tie himself in knots because if you're going to recast, you need to recast everyone. And they're just about to put out a Deadpool movie with Jackman as Wolverine again.
Yeah, but they've kind of explained that, isn't it? It's like going to be like a multiversal fuck around one. And
well, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, which is one of the best comics ever. But like, you've got to do it. You've got to do it well. And they've already said that Dogpool's going to be in it. That weird looking scrawny dog with a Deadpool outfit on. Honestly, it's like a chihuahua, his tongue sticking out of his mouth. He looks absolutely insane. I guess that there's like a million multiverses, and then There's multiverses, yeah. You can, if you're going to do the Kelsey Grammer Beast, then you're going to want to see the Hugh Jackman Wolverine. They're just scrabbling for cameos. They're scrabbling for people for you to go, fucking hell, they did that. That's amazing. Whereas it's not that impressive because we've had better cameos and done better things with it.
There were a lot of rumours that Taron Egerton is going to be the new Wolverine.
Oh, I love that idea. I fucking love that. He's small,
and if you saw the last thing he was in, he was massive. And everyone was like, why are you working out so much for that role?
He's exactly the right kind of grit
shape
to play shape. But he's gritty. He's a gritty actor. Like that Robin Hood thing that he did was a shitty movie, but he was gritty as fuck in it.
Oh, even in his worst films, he's still the best thing in it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And like, I think he's got the chops now to really like play that character well.
I think, and it wasn't my idea, sadly. It was, again, on another Empire. I think it was the Empire podcast where they were talking about their reactions to this. And they reckon...
Don't worry, you'll have your own ideas soon.
I know. Well, I had one. I can't remember what it was now, but it was good.
The Avengers.
You said it was.
Teen Avengers.
What they kind of said is they think there's going to be a big reset on the whole MCU.
Okay.
Like there's going to be and they reckon it'll be Secret Wars, and there'll be this big multiversal clash. And so leading up to that, you can fucking throw in whoever you want from whatever franchise.
Oh God, and see who sticks.
Not necessarily see who sticks, but do it as a farewell and combine it, and like kind of then when it all resets and you just have the one universe again, you can then recast all from the start there.
Yeah.
Or you can bring some over, and because it is going to get too confusing. You can't. If you just do all new X-Men, you can't have some of them. It'll be all new or none.
Yeah, agreed.
Unless you're going to take the time between now and Secret Wars, which are rumoured for 2028 now,
Jesus.
shifting stuff backwards. It's going to be really bad, man. We get to that point in the future where we're going to die of old age before the next Marvel film comes out that we want to see.
Yes.
Potentially.
But I mean, I don't think there's going to be... I think Marvel is going to be a franchise that spans several generations now, because there's enough backstory and comic books, and as another
Hollywood loves recycling stuff. Oh, let's do Iron Man again.
Well, yeah, but they can, because there's like a million different versions of him, and there'd be a whole new audience that this classic Iron Man, or is it?
And with that younger new audience growing up with multiverse films, they're much more likely to accept it without having to have 2 films and a fucking TV show explaining what multiverses are.
Yeah. Oh my god. But that's good for them. That could be kind of fun in itself for whoever's got to unpick that tapestry. But
his name's Kevin.
Yeah, he is for now. And who's going to replace him? Because if we're talking about people passing on, people we don't know, no one lives forever. So who's going to take over? Who could do such a good job as Kevin Feige? Who's he grooming to be the next?
Well, it's from She-Hulk, the Kevin Machine.
Of course. You had to bring that up.
The irony of that, actually, as we're still on the MCU, the irony of the Machine, where she literally stops the show in the finale and goes, wait, this doesn't make sense. Why would that guy be there? That doesn't make, absolutely rips the piss out of everything that Marvel does badly.
Yeah.
And they were so exactly right on it.
Yeah.
But then they go and do exactly that in Secret Invasion.
Yeah, they did. They literally they took that as everybody laughing about that joke as this is the thing people like. We'll just do a whole series of that. Oh dear.
The only person who came out of Secret Invasion with any credit at all was Olivia Colman. You could have just made a 6-episode show about her character, and I would have watched it, and it would have been infinitely better.
I think the other person that came out of it is Kobe Smulders, but that's because she came out fucking dead.
Oh, come on. And what about poor Talos, man?
Yeah.
Good old Ben Mendelsohn.
He was one of the best characters
in Captain Marvel.
And whatever else he was in moving forwards, because he was obviously in the Spider-Man movie for a second, wasn't he? He was in the second Spider-Man movie. Yeah. So he's just a wonderful actor who's great. And it's the same with Olivia Colman. They could fart in a box and people would go to the box office and see it, 'cause it's great.
Speaking of farting in a box, no, that's not a segue.
No.
But I think that's it for the Marvel. So I really enjoyed it. You quite enjoyed it.
Yes.
But hey, it was much better than Ant-Man Quantumania, which is what we're going with.
Absolutely.
But not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
So it's the second best Marvel film of the year because of any release rate. Agreed. Which moves us on to easily probably the best Marvel TV show of the year, which is Loki Season 2.
Yes.
And yep, we're back with the God of Mischief and Owen Wilson. Wow.
Was that your Owen Wilson?
Yeah, it was okay.
It needs work. Wow.
Sounds like a cat.
Yeah, let's just keep doing this for half an hour. Wow.
People will definitely listen, won't they?
Owen Wilson might listen and put a hit out on us.
Ben Stiller did one of our tweets once, so he's in that zone.
Okay, right.
Ben Stiller's definitely going to go, oh yeah, I like this guy's tweet once, listen to his podcast, because I haven't. And Owen Wilson's just sitting there like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
He wouldn't say that. He'd say, wow.
He'd be like, wow, that's bad. Okay, was season 1 better than season 2, or season 2 better than season 1? What do you think?
Difficult one to answer in a hotspot situation, but I preferred season 1, but also it had elements that I didn't like as much as I liked elements of season 2. So if I have to on the spot say one or the other
now, or the universe blows up.
Oh, I can let the universe blow up. I'm fine with that. Season 1 was my favorite of the 2.
Yeah, I'm going season 1 and 2. I think season 1 was just much more crazier and absolutely insane in some of the stuff it tried.
Yeah.
And I think season 2 was just, we got to save the TVA.
Yeah.
For the whole season.
Yeah.
Until we get to the last episode, which was fucking magnificent, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail as we work our way through the bits.
Sorry, that last episode, that could have been a movie.
You could have got the other 5 episodes, cherry-pick the best bits, use the Groundhog Day structure, and then just do it as that.
Yep. And that's it. And that's Loki Season 2. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Now, I wrote my notes on this as I was watching it live the other week. It's more kind of like a weird stream of consciousness I have here, as opposed to actual
structured comments,
insightful stuff. So it's like the Richard Linklater version of Loki you're going to get here. So basically, I'm just going to read stuff out and just jump in on it when you want. We got Owen Wilson on jet ski finally.
Yes, that does happen. Well, you see him on a jet ski, but never in the water.
That's true. That would have cost too much money, probably.
He probably can't swim.
Shocking.
You heard it here first.
Kihei Kwan making his triumphant debut in the MCU.
Just casually getting an Oscar and then going to work for Marvel. It's just like, I thought everyone forgot me after the Goonies. It's like, yeah, we kind of did, and now you're amazing.
Yeah, Ouroboros, what a character, man.
And he's great.
He was good, but also I thought he was slightly underused as a time talk tech guy. That's literally what I thought whenever he was like, time talk tech guy.
He was mainly there for exposition and like linking, but they wanted someone notable to do that exposition. I think it was like, it had more weight because it was him doing that part.
Exactly. That made it more memorable than if it's just like random, like Brad from episode 2. Brad, who the fuck was Brad? Was Brad in season 1? Because I couldn't remember.
No, I don't think he was. I think if he was at the end, wasn't he? He was at in the last episode, and they just sort of went, "Oh shit, we need someone to carry over." Oh, that guy will do. Is he in a union? Yeah, fuck it, he'll do.
TVA member number 23. You now have a line.
Brad. You got a reoccurring part. Well done.
Now this brings me on to Sylvie, who I thought was the worst wasted character in this season. She had nothing to do.
Why was she there?
She apparently works for McDonald's now.
Yeah, which I think is like if they'd have just left her at that McDonald's in that episode and moved on, I'd have been like, oh, that's a bummer. I wish I'd have seen more of her. But because they brought her into it, I was like, oh, that was kind of a waste of a character. There was no sexual tension between Loki and Loki. So which was a really awesome part of the first season. I thought that was really clever. I really liked it. It comes, kind of from the comics. Like there was she had no driving force. She wasn't. Until that very last episode, which we'll talk about later, which we're going to keep saying. Yeah. But until that very last episode, she
keep listening.
She might as well not have been there, and I think that would have been a better choice.
Just bring her in last minute. It's like, it's like kind of the Deus Ex Machina. But I mean, man, how much money did McDonald's pay them to for the amount of fucking
I don't know
stuff they were in it? But like you say, her character, she had no real thing other than TVA bad, leave me alone. And she was just an angry woman with a mullet. Perhaps she was angry because she had the mullet.
I mean, I'd be angry if Actually, no, I'd have hair then, and that wouldn't be so bad. I could cut it. Yeah, I don't know why I'd be angry.
Mullet.
Cut it out of the mullet.
I think there was a big lack of magic and mischief compared to season 1. You get a little bit of it in episode 2 when they're having the chase scene with Brad and Loki starts using some of his tricks. And I was like, great, that's what we want to see.
Yeah, classic Loki. Loving
Classic
it.
Loki.
But they come up with that thing where you can't use magic in the TVA because there's a fucking magic dampening field or something. So
yeah, it's called a lack of budget.
That's how you defeat a god, is it? You just strangle his budget.
Yeah. Sorry, no, you don't have any powers, no money.
Yeah. Sorry, pal.
And like you said, I think dropping the potential Loki-Sylvie relationship was a misstep. I mean, obviously, they didn't need to go there the full way, but it's definitely that attraction and that sparkiness you get in season 1. And it's just gone here. There's just not nothing at all. It's just like, Loki is noble, regular superhero good guy now.
Yeah.
For the most part. And it's like, I kept wondering whether there might be a twist and there'd be a chance where Timely offers him something to Well,
he kind of does, doesn't he? He offers him the throne, doesn't he? He's like, you're chasing the throne. He's like, oh, I've not wanted that for a long time now.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, fair enough. Loki has grown past that. That's fine. But he's still the god of mischief. He should have been mischievous.
Yeah. I mean, I think what kind of because it changed showrunners between season 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Season 1 was a British lady called Kate Herron, who was the director for most of it and did it all. And then it's Benson and Moorhead, the guys who did Moon Knight, who did season 2.
Okay, that's why it feels more. Season 2 feels more chaotic to me. Season 1 was organized.
I think it's the other way around. Well, chaotic in. In the way it's structured, you mean, or
so season 1 was organized chaos. There was a lot happening all the time, constantly, but it was you could follow it and it was interesting and it drew me in. Season 2, there was a lot happening. It didn't seem to be in any coherent order, even from a time travel point of view, and it lost me in places. And I kind of drifted, and I was found myself thinking about other things and going, "Oh shit, I'm watching this. This is the thing I wanted to watch." So it was too chaotic in the wrong ways for me.
I think there was a bit of they didn't really use Renslayer that well this time around, or Miss Minutes. I mean, why did they both want to fuck Victor Timely? That made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, that's weird.
Especially Miss Minutes, who is I don't even what the hell she is. What is Miss Minutes?
An AI hologram clock
lady.
It's like Ziggy from Quantum Leap, just runs everything but kind of doesn't. Or Jarvis like their version of Jarvis.
And then we've got Victor Timely, the problematic Jonathan Majors, and then if you believe what you've read online today, that Marvel are pivoting away from Kang and just going to scrap the Kang dynasty today, was one of the stories making the rounds.
Was it really? I mean, like I was amazed that they carried on, and that the quality, the caliber of actor like Tom Hiddleston was okay with working with someone with that kind of, with those kind of rumors, and that kind of stuff going on around him.
Well, I'm assuming a lot of this was filmed maybe before it all came out.
You think?
With COVID and all that, and
yeah, maybe.
I mean, at the minute, all we know is Majors is going to trial.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. Yeah,
that's
guilty. Yeah.
You can say as a fact. So yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, whatever is thing, actors who are in this position, I'm sorry, you get tarnished, especially if it's a family company like Disney.
Yeah,
not going to take that risk, that £1 billion of potential revenue they're going to lose if they go forward with him, and then I don't know, something happens again. But also, I feel like Victor Timely and his stutter annoyed me. I just like, I get that it's a choice. I didn't actually mean to do that. And then I thought, I'm going to go with it. I get that it's a choice he went with, but it just made me annoying whenever he was on screen talking.
They always do that. That annoys me when that is the way that they signify or show vulnerability or weakness. Is like someone has to have like a physical attribute to be like weak. They can't just act it. They have to have a stamina or something that makes you feel for them,
And of course, the difference when we jump, I think it's the second to last episode where Loki goes to the end of time and he figures out he needs to go back to where he needs to stop. I know that's the last episode, isn't it?
Last episode.
Where he has to stop. Yeah. So okay, let's get into the finale. Fuck it. Yeah. So it's basically, I love the start, man. You got that time loop of just Timely getting spaghettied over and over again.
Yeah, that's really
funny. Loved it, man. A timely loop, if you will.
Oh, clever. A timely spaghetti hoop, someone could say.
Terrible.
It was bad. It was really bad.
I love the fact that Loki takes charge and he's like, okay, I loved it, but when he goes up to OB, he's like, how long is it going to take me to learn all of quantum physics and all that kind of stuff? He's like, well centuries. Title, centuries later. I was like...
Nothing has changed, though. Nothing has changed. He doesn't look any older. They've just gone centuries later. And you go, all right, fair enough. He's a god. Let's do it.
He's a god. I mean, that's a line, isn't it? But I'm a fast learner and a god.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I would always say. I mean, you do have one of the big problems with the show. And again, I found it's just... There's a lot of text speaking, isn't there? There's so much of like, oh, we need to do this to the so-and-so, to the what's his name. Otherwise, this thing's going to happen. You're like...
Yeah, I think they tried to simplify it as much as possible.
They did.
It's a giant loom that weaves everything into one time strand, and you're like, all right, that I get. But then they get into like the thing that they've got to build that has the other thing, and then they've got to put it in a thing that shoots it into the loom, and then you're like, oh man, really? Like this is a hell of a lot going on here that I don't really feel like I need to worry about. But you're telling me about it, so I'll listen.
Wasn't it in the film Equilibrium a loom of fate, or was it Wanted?
No, it was wanted. Wasn't it? Yeah, where they curved.
There's already been the loom of fate. So,
yes.
Wow, deep cut. James McAvoy was in that. There you go. Professor X confirmed.
Well done.
I mean, I love the fact that it starts like a bottle episode.
Yeah,
like Groundhog Day.
Yep.
And just I thought that was the best sequence all season at that point.
But it was almost too little, too late as well. It was like it was like had that have been part of an earlier episode, I feel like it would have made sense of a few more things. Like he gets stuck in a time loop and then he's going round and round in circles, and the whole season was him doing bigger and bigger loops. Like, because he starts to control his temporal, like, whatever displacement. I just...
Time slipping. He learns how to control his time slipping.
I mean...
Time slip.
I like the way I said it. He could have...
The temporal shit.
Well, easy, Tiger. He could have... They could have done more with that and made it more of a thing, but again, it felt like they just sort of like, oh yeah, he's going to do this time loop thing, and it's just going to be half an episode, and that's all we need. I was like, I feel like you missed a trick there. You could have done more with that.
When he keeps again and again trying to do the bit where they got to put the thing in the thing to stop the thing exploding, and it doesn't work.
Yep.
That's the one. And once he realizes it's not going to work, it's the offhand comment that Timely says that he goes, I need to go backwards in time. And by this point, he can he's pretty much there on his mastery of time. So he goes to the end of time. He goes, right, actually, it's not this bit I need to do. I need to stop Sylvie from killing him, because if she kills him, everything dies. And then you actually do get a really good performance from Jonathan Majors in that scene, don't you?
I don't think he's a bad actor. I just don't.
No, he's a really good actor.
I just don't think he's a good person.
Problematic person. Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're doing here. We're separating the performance from the person.
Yeah,
and his performance is good here. But that's what annoys me, because Victor Timely's so fucking annoying, and then you've got him as like he who remains proper at the end there.
Because I mean that's the thing that he set up though. Like in season 1, he sets up this almighty character, and everybody was super excited at his performance, going, "Fuck me, if this is what Kang's going to be like, we are in for an absolute treat." And then you see him in Ant-Man, and you're just like, "Oh, that was a shame, wasn't it?"
You got beat by the annoying teenage daughter and Ant-Man.
And the Ant family, whatever. That everyone's a team. We need team.
Well, they tried explaining it by going, well, we didn't want him to just be built up as big as Thanos straight away. So, like, we needed him to lose. But you have to, If you're going to be the big bad, you need to be the big bad.
Yeah, and he needs to choose to walk away. That bad guy in Ant-Man, they should have got to the point of like nearly being annihilated by Kang, and all of his millions of fucking variants. And then Kang just goes, "You're not worth it," and just fucks off, because that's terrifying. Like for like an MCU, a villain that just can't be bothered to kill you because he knows that he can kill you instantly.
Yeah, well, it could do a variation on that line he says in the film. He goes, "Have I killed you before?"
Oh,
you
nice.
could do a variation. Yeah. It's like, "I've killed you before.
I've killed you so many times before." Yeah, like and that's it. They just walk off, and you're like, "Oh shit, he means business." Like, see that
we just fixed Quantum Mania, man.
We just fixed a lot of the MCU, but that's besides the point. But yeah, like what do we get to with Loki? So like they set up this Kang, or he who remains, like, and he was great at the end of series 1, and everybody was super stoked. So to have like a Victor Timely character that was a bit like weak and a bit weird, like, and as like a con man, but he's not really a con man, because a confidence trickster is a confident person, and he's very not confident. Like it was an oxymoron of himself. Like it didn't.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought, is he just a variant, or is he actually the original guy who becomes Kang?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that there is a
original Kang character.
The original guy that becomes Kang. I can't remember how they explain his origin, but like he's lost for centuries and does all sorts of fucking crazy stuff to become Kang, and then realizes he can harness the power of his variants by going and like weaponizing his variants. At least that's the way I remember it, and I read those comics a very, very, very long time ago. I think that they kind of missed a trick there. Like I did like the performance like that he puts in with Tom Hiddleston, in that, like, after he's killed over and over again, and he keeps trying to stop Sylvie, and Sylvie.
I was about to say, we get that brilliant montage of like Sylvie just murdering him again and again and again,
and you get Tom Hiddleston putting in a really, really fucking beautifully acted like fight scene where
he goes through all the ranges, man.
You can see his fatigue. And like how he just gets completely like forlorn, and just like, I'm never going to win this. I'm never going to be able to do this. This is, and that's when he has that moment of like, hang the fuck on, and then and then fucking.
Well, Kang pauses time first.
He does, yeah.
He goes, "That's interesting," or something like that.
Yeah, you haven't figured out you can pause time yet, and then Loki's like, "What? I can do what?"
I'll see you when you figure it out. Then
and he's like, "Let's go through
pretty much instantaneous because time." And then there's a bit where he's like, I forget the lead up to it, but I was writing down good lines, and it's a bit he goes, "I know, champ," to him.
Oh yeah, I know, champ. Like he's really condescending, isn't he?
But then we have another flashback to Loki and Mobius's first meeting, and this, of course, for Mobius is literally just after they've like arrested him, and it's the fact he just literally run through everything he's going to say to him. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the best sort of time loop Groundhog Day style things I think they've done.
Yeah,
and of course there's that line in there, because obviously the first episode was called Glorious Purpose, wasn't it?
Yes.
The last one is called, what's that line? He says to him, most purpose is more burden than glory.
Yes, but I think the last episode is burdened with glorious purpose or something, isn't it?
Burdened with glorious purpose, that's it.
That's his whole line. I am Loki.
And then you get Mobius's story about why he does it, and you figure out that Renslayer was his partner who pruned an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And that got dark, man. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, because he hesitated, and she didn't, and that's why she is... There was a lot of speculation on that going, who do you reckon 8-year-old boy was going to grow up to be, like in the terms of like the MCU? Oh man,
we don't know.
Iron Man, probably Tony Stark.
Well, when I was watching it, I was like, wait, so he's definitely going to. I thought he was actually going to have to kill Sylvie. I thought that's what it was going to go to.
Yeah, I thought that as well, and I thought that could have been quite poetic, but it would have meant more had they had like some kind of love connection. That's the only way it would have like really like landed for me.
And I say, man, you got to love yourself before you can love anyone else.
It's true, and then you got to kill a variant of yourself before you can control the strands of time in a badass scene where you're like, oh, that's the end of Loki. I've just witnessed his final fucking thing. I didn't realize that's how that was going to end. So I love that. Bloody brilliant.
That ending was movie worthy, man, wasn't it? I just like, and I love the fact he gets his throne when he doesn't want it, and he finally gets it, and he's earned it. And you see, I mean, so what happens is basically he decides not to kill Sylvie, and then everything just starts going, and then Loki's. We go back to the original start of the episode, and Loki decides to walk out and put the thing in the thing to save the universe.
That was a weird choice anyway, because if you are a god, you're the one that can withstand the radiation. So why wasn't he doing that in the first place?
Right.
But
he might have learned how to do it over the intervening years.
Yeah. So, but I know the original thing was that they needed someone that would be able to fix it on the fly if something went wrong, and he was the scientist mind that could fix it. But it didn't look like he could fix anything in that fucking giant suit that he could barely walk in. So weird. But Loki having that moment of like he goes back to the start, because essentially it is that one episode over and over again. But like, he goes back to the start. He walks out and then starts grabbing strands of time as it explodes.
I literally wrote as well when I was watching it. I was like, "Will Loki take the place of He Who Remains?" As it was starting to happen.
Nice.
And then you get old school horned Loki. And one thing, all that techno babble that we got from Ouroboros and the whole TVA. None of it mattered because Loki just used his god magic to like restart up all the strands again, and that made me laugh. So I put Loki tree hugger, and then all the branches look like the DNA opening from the original X-Men.
Wow,
I know it wasn't, but I was reaching there.
I thought it was a nod to the first Thor movie where they explain the universe as a tree.
Oh, the tree. Well, yeah, that's definitely a nod to that.
So like, so that could be a thing there. But like, it was. Yeah, I mean, I think the whole thing about Loki, like he realizes over time that he's the one that can fix it, because I think he almost forgets at times that as you do as a kind of as a viewer, like you kind of forget that he has these enormous godlike powers, and he's also never like this. He's never the guy to sacrifice, like they say of Tony Stark in the original Avengers movie. Like, you're not the one to lay on the grenade. He's like, I'd rather defuse the grenade, you know. Loki has that same kind of arc where he's like, he now knows that his, like you said, like his throne is actually a burdened throne, that he has to be the one to physically control these strands because he's the only one with the actual power to do it. And it takes him this whole journey to discover that. It's not just like he could go in there and be like, don't worry, I'm a god, I've got this, season 1, episode 1, done.
He's the god of time now, isn't he?
He's just fucking.
Or a tree.
He's got a god of trees.
God of trees.
They should put Groot in there to help him out.
Yeah, fucking Groot would have been excellent help there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I said, you had the irony of when he didn't want a throne, and he does do something worthy of being a god and a hero, and then he gets his throne at the end of time, and then that very last shot, just the look of peace on his face, and that slight smile, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was like, that is just such a perfect ending to the character, man. Like, I would quite be happy if you never saw him again now.
I think that's it. I think that's the end of it. I think that's the end of Loki. I don't think you're going to see him ever again. I think his place is now like solidified as a
tree,
this gatekeeper of the forest of time. If you take him away out of that throne, like, you kind of cheapen his sacrifice. And that smile at the end to me was like a bittersweet. Like, I got my throne. This really sucks, but my friends are safe, and that's kind of
and that was the main thoroughfare of his whole storyline.
Yeah,
he didn't have friends, and then he got friends, and he had to save his friends.
Yep.
So that was like the main kind of thoroughfare. So quickly looking at the other, there was that brief mention of our favourite MCU film of the year, Ant-Man Quantumania, when they say, there was a incident
in whatever the
adjacent,
yeah,
and there's that one picture of him going from like the end. He's like, okay. But it was taken care of. Because clearly in that universe, they had the really, really shit He Who Remains, Kang. Mobius decides to leave the TVA to see what life he could have had. And did they ever clear that up? Because he just stands there and goes, I'm just going to wait a while, and just stands there.
Yeah, he's just stalking his own variant.
Variant skids.
Strange. Yeah, I don't really understand that. I mean, I
also wondered, like, when OB gets the new TVA handbook, and I was like, did he write that or did Loki write it? I wondered at that point.
I thought it was a new handbook.
Yeah,
written by OB and Timely to deal with the new tree version of. I thought it was those two that.
Isn't it? There's a poster on the wall that says "Learn together and grow" or something like that.
Yeah. Because it looks
tree stuff everywhere.
Yeah, it's all got a bit nature loving over there.
What I did like is everyone got a chance. Like where I said, like a lot of the other characters didn't really have a lot to do in the whole season. It was kind of everyone was undeserved. I felt in it for the sake of pushing this TVA must be saved narrative. Which was a bit bored. I just didn't care, and I was a bit bored by it.
But do you even need the TVA now that Loki's in charge of all of the strands? Because what are they doing?
Yeah, what are they even doing?
Yeah, just sending him food every once in a while. Like just
get some plant food.
There we go. We've got a Deliveroo for Loki the tree. Can you
tree god of mischief? He's put down here.
God of mischief. No,
mischief.
That's bad.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think rounding off Loki, the finale was superb and up there with the end of WandaVision for me. It perfectly ended a character's arc, and it gave Hiddleston a perfect end to the character for now, because you know they're going to bring him back.
They don't need to. If he leaves that chair, all the timelines are going to die. He can't.
But that's going to happen in Secret Wars anyway, right? So you'll probably get involved at some point there.
Yeah, well, stupid.
I mean, he's got that long to think about it. Can't he just clone himself or something?
He's like, what is he now? 40, 41, 42? Like he's got time if he wants to come back and do it, but I just don't know that it serves him as an actor to do it, you know?
It depends how desperate Marvel get, I suppose. Like, I mean, there's those rumours about them trying to get Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson back. Everyone's like, fuck off, that's a terrible idea.
Leave him alone. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is going to do nothing but try and win Oscars now because, I mean, we all saw him in Oppenheimer and he was fucking unreal.
Exactly.
So, he's not going to win an Oscar being Iron Man, so, fuck that.
Yeah, we actually had a comment as well. Jordan Carpenter said he loved the Marvels. It was so incredibly fun and exciting. And Loki Season 2 finale was really thrilling with an unexpected ending. So, cheers for dropping your comment there, Jordan.
Yeah, well said.
Well, that has been an epic session today. My thanks to Darben for using a jump point to join me here today. And also, you can't find him on social media because he's a Kree warlord who also exploded because he was wearing two bracelets. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. And we are also on YouTube now, at the We Needed Roads podcast on YouTube. To clarify, these are not video episodes because no one wants to see our faces. They're just the audio with the logo on it. But hey, if you listen to podcasts on YouTube, we're there too now. Right, I'm off to put a team together.
We Needed Roads.